La 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 la. Anyway, hi, what's up? We're doing our blog. I'm here with Dangerous. Well, his name is Dane Hamarali, or whatever. But he's actually fighting November 18th at the Showdown Fights in Utah. And speaking of fights, I was at the UFC this past weekend in Vegas at the Mandalay. Really good card. Our guy Ramsey Ninjum fights for our gym, in Pitt, Utah. Did great. Beat a really tough guy in Danny Downs. Brutal one-sided beating, but the guy was tough as nails. But not only did Ramsey train really hard and pull off the perfect game plan, he showed some really good striking, catching Danny with some really good left hooks, and some excellent control on the bottom. Well, it was on the ground, but he was on top. When I say bottom, I just mean on the ground. Anyway, so it was a great fight. We're really proud of him. Some of the other fights, we're going to go through them and just critique them real quick. The first fight was a guy named Starks and Jacoby. I didn't see it. I did watch Chris Camozzi fight. Got beaten pretty bad by a guy named Francis something, French guy from Canada, one of George St. Pierre's training partners, just coming down from 205. Pretty one-sided fight, but Chris Camozzi showed he loves to bang, and he was in there banging the whole fight. Really tough guy. And it's really hard to fight him because when you look at him, you get lost in his eyes. He has really pretty eyes. And I don't mean pretty in a girly way. He just has... I can't even look at him. I have to look down when I talk to him. Even the guy that was wrapping his hands had to keep looking just at his hands. He can't look at his face. Because once you look at his face, you're just mesmerized. So when Chris was trying to stare down his opponent when the referee instructions, but his opponent was already onto him, so he wouldn't make eye contact. Once you make eye contact, you're mesmerized, and he has you under a spell. So, FYI, you guys, if you're going to fight Chris Camozzi, do not make eye contact. All right? I'm just saying. Then there's Ramsey beating Danny Downs, great fight. Brandon Vera against Elliot Marshall. Showed a lot of things. I thought Elliot should have won the fight. I didn't really watch the whole thing, but it looked really close. But it looked like to me like Elliot got a little bit of the best of it. Brandon's a great fighter, really talented. Sometimes it just seems like he has other things, so much going on in his life. He's like thinking something else. He's like there but not there. And then when he is there, it's like he looks unbeatable, but sometimes he just looks like he's kind of drifting. This Elliot Marshall guy is a newcomer, and he looked phenomenal. Hurt Brandon's arm at the end with an arm bar, but it was a really good fight. Tyson Griffin, I guess, got beaten pretty bad, knocked out by a Bart, Polish last name. Didn't see that fight. Then I guess that spinning back kick guy, Dennis Seaver, got KO'd by Donald Cerrone, who's on a crazy roll. Looks like he's going to go all the way to the top, the Cowboy. Jackson's doing a great job training him, and he's doing great. Then a Japanese guy fought George Roop. It was really close. I thought it could have gone either way. I kind of leaned towards George Roop, but they gave the Japanese guy the decision. Really good fight. Scott Jorgensen beat Gene Kern. Was it close?
Yeah, it was really close. Really good fight, actually.
Yeah, I don't really think I saw much of that fight, but Scott Jorgensen's really hard to beat. So I can, with his wrestling and his toughness. So that was a close fight. Okay. He beat Jeff Curran. Big Roy Nelson, the guy is phenomenal. I mean, it doesn't look like he's in that great a shape, but he is. He hits hard. He's in great shape. he has the heart of a freaking tiger and the chin of granite, and he beat Crow Cop convincingly. I guess he stopped him on the ground, just pounding ground and pound. He's a hard one to beat. I mean, he's like Tank Abbott on steroids with a ton more talent. But he has that same personality, like, give me a hot dog and I'll go fight tonight. But he's a really talented fighter. I mean, he looks like just a big brawler, but he has mad skills, crazy power, and he's in great shape. He bangs, doesn't he, the whole fight? I mean, he doesn't seem to get winded at all. He fights guys with six packs and shit, and he out conditions them. It's really funny to watch. But even when he's laying on him, he's moving, he's working, and like with Dos Santos, he just slugged from bell to bell, didn't he?
Oh yeah, he looked great against Dos Santos. I mean, Dos Santos beat him up, but he put up a good fight. He's got a great heart, man.
And at the end, he was still standing, just slugging. So I love watching Roy Nelson.
My boy Ricky on some wrestling and jiu-jitsu stuff right now. What it was before the fight.
In Vegas?
Yep.
Ricky who?
Ricky Lundell.
I watch him to make another move up the top too. Czech Congo against Mitrione. The styles didn't really match up that good, so it didn't make for a really exciting fight. I think Mitrione pushed it a little more. I try to dislike Czech Congo because, he's just moving and just sometimes his style isn't great, but number one, he's the nicest guy in the world. But number two, now he's wrestling and learning his wrestling. He's doing great takedowns, and he actually won this fight, pretty much on the ground. It wasn't too much action. Mitrione did push a little more, and Czech used a lot of good movement. Mitrione is fast, though. He's freaking 255 pounds, and he moves like a friggin' lightweight. I mean, he's in and out, drops his hands, kind of does like, Roy Jones Jr. I mean, he's fast. And I think, he took this, he has, like 2 years experience and 5 fights, and he's, outstand-upping a guy like Czech Congo, who's like a kickboxing phenom, champion, been around the block, probably has 100 fights, and Mitrione just has crazy skills and speed and athleticism. He's going all the way, definitely. At 5 fights, if that's how he's performing against a top-level fighter, can you imagine what he's going to be in 10 fights? I think the sky's the limit for him. Then our last fight, BJ Penn won the first round big against Nick Diaz. It wasn't close to putting Nick away, but he landed more shots. And then just seemed like Nick just it was a war of attrition, and Nick won. Just his conditioning. He won the second round big, probably a 10-8 round. Just beat up BJ pretty bad. Then the third round, BJ came back, and it kind of went back and forth, but then more fourth for Nick. So it was definitely it was a one-sided fight. The second and third round. First round was all BJ, and then the second round went back and forth, but more fourth for Diaz definitely won, and he won the second round, probably a 10-8 round, so he won that fight. And I don't think BJ will retire, and I don't think he should, unless he really doesn't want to fight anymore. But just based on that one appearance, I don't think he should retire. All right? Well, thanks, Dane, for coming.
Thank you.
Dangerous. And we're going to go train right now. See you later.